So Michigan opened the season 1-0 versus New Mexico. They won 34-17. It was a wild way to get to 34-17 in this game. I was right that Michigan would not cover that 34.5 to 37-point spread. But I like what I saw. I like what I saw from the University of Michigan when the officials didn't fuck up in this game. There were a couple of times where that targeting shouldn't have happened. It was a good football play. He had his head up. It was just physical. It's just what it was. Their quarterback Lane got beat down all game long. There was nothing different in that play, except the officials had to give them 15 yards. And now, because of that, Jayshon Barham is going to be missing the Oklahoma first half in the Oklahoma game. It sucks. That sucks. I don't want to pile on Andrew Marsh, but that sucked too. The freshman had some mistakes as well as the officials did. Fumbled the kick return. Come on, man. You just get down. You're not gonna get to the end zone. You got it out past the 20. You're surrounded. Get down. Don't have the opportunity to fumble the ball. Cover that shit up. And then Bryce was connecting with everybody, and then it was his turn, and he wasn't even looking at the ball. He was wide open. It was right to him. If he would have just looked up, it would have been amazing. Another first down catch for Bryce Underwood, which we're leading into now. Bryce Underwood was amazing. He finished the game 21 of 31. So over 66% for 251 yards, and he had a tutty. He looked comfortable for the most part, although he had a couple of boneheaded moments where he threw a ball over the middle one time instead of going to his check down, and then he tried to scramble around. He tucked it without keeping his eyes on the field another time, but that's pretty much it. I mean, Bryce was a star, and I see why Michigan paid all that money. I can't wait to see what he does going forward. Justice Haynes is running back number 1 now. I was wrong. Look, I thought it would be Jordan Marshall. I thought he was the more physical guy, but Haynes, man, after a couple of 50-yard almost touchdown runs. One was a 56-yard touchdown run, and then he had a 59-yard run or 60-yard run to the goal line. Hit the pylon, but his knee was down. So, but then he punched it in anyway for his third rushing touchdown in this game. He's a beast. 16 carries for 159 yards. That's a 10-yard average and 3 rushing touchdowns. Marshall had 11 carries for 29 yards is all, so that was concerning a little bit for me. But tight end Marlon Klein is for real, like we all thought. A beast, big body that can run. He had 6 catches for 93 yards and a touchdown. The kicker, Dominic Zvada, was 2 for 2. Nothing to worry about there. 4 for 4 on extra points. Special teams was great overall. They were pinning teams deep on kickoffs. They were pinning New Mexico deep. But there was that exception of the fumble on the special teams by Andrew Marsh, the freshman. All right, so I'm not going to harp on him too much, but man, Jayshon Barham was another thing that sucked. He was called for the bogus targeting, and I thought it was a bing bang physical play that was legal, and now he will miss the first half of Oklahoma, which is not ideal going forward. Another note, Wink Martindale's defense was ferocious, which may have led to that call because maybe they're like, hey, you can't just keep... I mean, Lane, their quarterback, was on his back more than I've ever seen any quarterback maybe I mean, a lot. He got hit a ton in this game. That guy is a beast. He's for real. And their tight end, Thomas, is amazing. We'll get to all that. We're going to break down the game. But Wink's defense was ferocious, but it succumbed to some big plays in this game. A couple of them. So here we go. In the first quarter, Michigan got the ball to start this game. And Samaj Morgan had an 11-yard screen. All right, here we go. Haynes got started with a 3-yard run. And then he, on 3rd and 6, a 7-yard inside curl from Underwood to Morgan got the first down. It's beautiful. It was inside. It was a window that he had to fit it in. And I was like, oh, okay. Underwood has that. So here we go. And then Haynes, of course, the offensive line had a hit and miss game, in my opinion. They opened holes in some instances, and they didn't in others. And it seemed like when Jordan Marshall was in there, they didn't, but Haynes was in there, and they did. Maybe he's just finding the holes like, say, Kalel Mullings did last year, and Donovan Edwards did not. So, there's intricacies here that I'm learning here for this team. It's awesome. We just saw a game. We just saw a Michigan football game. So, the 56-yard touchdown run, Michigan had the lead 7-0 2 minutes into this game. And then New Mexico had the ball. And on 3rd and 9, they ran a reverse for a yard. I don't know why they did that. 3 and out. But Samaj Morgan muffed the punt. I forgot about that. Another special teams mistake there. He got it back, luckily, at Michigan's 22-yard line early on in this game. Michigan then asserted their run game on their second possession, and McCulley had an 8-yard catch to open it up. And on 3rd and 2, Marshall had a 3-yard run to pick up a first down. And then there was that play action to Marlon Klein for big yards over the middle. And then 3 runs from Marshall and Haynes for another first down. Capana had a 4-yard run, came in the second drive and had a 4-yard run. So that was awesome. And then Marshall had 4 yards again. On 3rd and 2, Marshall had a 5-yard run. And then Bredesen had a 6-yard catch, the off-play action, the tight end, the fullback, the captain. That was awesome. And on 3rd and 3, Underwood gave it to Haynes, and then he blocked for Haynes after Haynes reversed back behind him right at the goal line. Underwood went in and got a hit and ensured the touchdown run for Haynes, his second. It was 14-0 Michigan early. Everything was great at this moment. Humphrey for New Mexico had a 4-yard run. Thomas had a 4-yard catch. But on 3rd and 2, it was incomplete as Barham, the guy who was ejected later in this game, crushed Lane. It was a 3 and out, and they punted to Michigan's 23-yard line. So with 2:42 left in the game, Michigan had Michigan had the ball. And Marlon Klein had a 15-yard catch to open that. And then Frederick Moore, come on, man, you dropped that first down catch. It was in your hands. You were wide open. You were past the sticks. You dropped it. On 3rd and 8, McCulley had a 7-yard catch. And it was a 4th and 1 right here. Michigan's up 14. It's at midfield. Michigan punted at midfield. Why are you doing that versus New Mexico? You can't get a yard versus them? I think that was where Michigan went from dominating this game to, all right, we're just gonna play this game and play it safe and get through it. So, and they did. But man, how do you not go for it? Harbaugh would have, right? Come on. They should have went for it. And then basically at the start of the second quarter now, Thomas had a first down catch for New Mexico. This tight end for them was pretty damn good. Dorian Thomas had another 9-yard catch. And then Lane capped for 3 yards and another first down. On 3rd and 10, it was incomplete, though, and they punted again to Michigan's 28-yard line. Michigan's Underwood tried to force a ball over the middle instead of getting the easy check down to the running back that was wide open out of the backfield over there. It could have been intercepted over the middle. Luckily, it wasn't. On 3rd and 7, it was incomplete, and Michigan had to punt to New Mexico's 28-yard line. It was a 3-and-out for Michigan. What? Come on. And then New Mexico had the ball, and Lane's pass was batted off the back of his own player's helmet into the air, and TJ Guy came up with the interception at New Mexico's 17-yard line. All right. We made a mistake. We corrected it. The defense corrected it. Here we go. Morgan got an 11-yard gain again. Marshall had a 3-yard run, but then on 3rd and goal from the 3, Underwood's pass was tipped and batted down and incomplete. Thank God, it could have been another interception in that moment as well. Zavada made the chip shot, and it was 17-0 Michigan. Then things got interesting. New Mexico's Thomas had a first down catch yet again. Johnson had a 14-yard catch over the middle. Humphrey, the running back, had an 8-yard run and then a 3-yard run. Buchanan, the wide receiver, on a 7-yard screen. And on 3rd and 3, Michigan was offside and interfered, putting the ball at Michigan's 29-yard line. On 3rd and 2, at Michigan's 10-yard line, Lane had a 1-yard run. So on 4th and 1, New Mexico had a nice play for a touchdown as Thomas leaked out all alone. McKinney threw the ball to him. McKinney, not the quarterback. It was a trick play here. And they had a trick play earlier where the whole offensive line didn't move. And they allowed Michigan's rush to get in, and then they passed it, and it was a nice big play. They got a touchdown there. It was 17-7. Then Andrew Marsh tried to be Superman and was not, and fumbled the kick return on the ensuing possession for Michigan. All of a sudden, New Mexico has all the momentum in this game. And the ball's at Michigan's 29-yard line yet again with 2:19 left in the half. New Mexico couldn't do nothing, though. On 3rd and 10, there was a 2-yard shovel pass that they tried. And then on 4th and 8, the 44-yard field goal was good. So it was 17-10 now, though. One-score game right before the half. And with 1:56 left, Michigan on 3rd and 14, as New Mexico got a sack and took a timeout, Bryce Underwood showed up and earned some of his money here in this game, right here in this moment, with a strike for 39 yards to Goodwin over the middle. And then McCulley had a 10-yard catch. Then Morgan had a 6-yard catch. He was slinging it, Bryce was. Haynes had a 9-yard run. And then a 15-yard touchdown to Marlon Klein with 25 seconds left. And Michigan led this game 24-10 at halftime. It was amazing. It was an amazing performance. Bryce was 12 of 17 for 144 yards and 1 touchdown at halftime. So the third quarter opened up with New Mexico getting the kickoff return. And then Humphrey had a 15-yard run and a 3-yard run. Then they got a false start, though, and on 3rd and 12, it was incomplete. So a 4-and-out for Michigan's defense. They punted to Michigan's 6-yard line, though. Michigan had the ball, and a beautiful play action from Bryce to Marlon Klein again went for 27 yards. And Kendrick Bell had a 30-yard catch from Bryce. Goodwin had a 10-yard catch. And then Marsh had that mistake where he wasn't even looking for the ball. Things were moving. They were going, and he was just trying to, I don't know what he was doing, but he was supposed to be receiving that ball. It was right to him. He's a freshman. It's fine, but Bryce is a freshman too, and he's doing much better in this quarterback position. You just got to catch the ball, maybe block and stuff too, of course. I don't want to lay on him. So anyway, Haynes had a 3-yard run after that, and on 3rd and 7, Klein dropped the ball. So it's not just him. Marlon Klein dropped the ball, but he got hit hard too, so it was understandable. Zvada's second kick was good. Michigan had a 27-10 lead at this point. Then New Mexico had the ball, and this is where Michigan got screwed a couple of times on this drive. Smith had a 9-yard catch for New Mexico. Then Jay-Sean Barham ran right around the right tackle with ease and got to Lane and sacked him. Had his head up, sacked him. He didn't drive him into the ground. None of that. But targeting was called. And it went from a huge sack where, I thought he had the sack and he was down right there. Otherwise, if he did fumble the ball, because he did, but he was down, it could have been Barham running into the end zone for a touchdown on the fumble recovery. And that's what they showed it on the score. It was a touchdown. Then they reviewed that, and then they added targeting. They fucked Michigan right there because it was not targeting. I give you that he was down, but I also think that sack was clean. I digress. Fresno State got another terrible call. On 3rd and 9, later in this drive from like the 50-yard line, they called that a receiver caught the ball. He was out of bounds. It was a first down catch, but he was out of bounds. But it was bobbling, and then his back was on the sideline, and it was out of bounds, and the replay officials couldn't get down to the field in time or whatever. Fresno went quick, and it was never reviewed. But another huge moment here in this game. On 3rd and 6, but I also think, come on, man, Wink Martindale. You have a 3rd and 9, a 3rd and 6, and a 3rd and 4, and all this on this drive. Come on, stop. You got to stop them on them instances. On 3rd and 6, Thomas, their tight end, had a 10-yard catch. Then a BS offsides on Derek Moore. I thought he timed it perfectly. I thought he got over the line right when the guy snapped it. Nope, offsides. Metcalf and Payne had a tackle for a loss at one point, but on 3rd and goal, Michigan's Jair Hill did interfere. He did interfere with New Mexico, and that gave them fresh downs. But man, the defense didn't give a touchdown up easy here. Mangum got pushed out. He caught the ball in the back of the end zone and got pushed out before he could get a foot on the field, and that was amazing. And then another tackle for loss. It was 3rd and goal again. This time, Thomas, number 7, their tight end, found the back of the end zone for a touchdown catch. It was 27-17. 10-point game. Michigan's drive then starts with a hold on them. So it's 1st and 20. Here we go. Klein had a tight end screen for 7 yards, but then it was 3rd and 13. Marshall had a 5-yard catch. Underwood was pressured heavily at that moment. He did have some pressures. I am a little bit concerned about the offensive line. I'm telling you that right now. Going forward, I thought maybe they could be better. Maybe they can be. still. But Underwood was pressured a little too much in this one for my liking. But the punt went to New Mexico's 41-yard line is all. So the punter has some work to do. Now we're in the fourth quarter here. Cam Brandt had a tackle for loss entering the fourth quarter for Michigan, yes. And then on 3rd and 11, New Mexico had a 2-yard run. And then on 4th and 9, Lane threw it up for grabs, and Hillman got the interception at Michigan's 20-yard line. Michigan then had, Morgan had 8 yards. Haynes had a 12-yard run. Marshall 3 yards. McCulley had an 8-yard catch. Justice Haynes had his second 50-yard run, this time 60, right down to that goal line. Then he capped it off with a 1-yard touchdown run. Michigan got back to the ground, but the balance here was awesome once they got over all of that screwiness there in the middle of this game. They came to play, and they finished the game out. Something that can't be said for some other teams that played. But yeah. And then New Mexico got the ball. On 3rd and 7, Johnson had a 9-yard catch. Thomas had a 7-yard catch. Lane had an 8-yard scramble. Buckley had a big catch to Michigan's 17-yard line. But Lane got drilled again, this time leading to another interception to Cole Sullivan at Michigan's 3-yard line. And then Michigan had a 3rd and 6, and Klein had a 4-yard catch. So we had to go 3 and out. We punted to New Mexico's 43-yard line is all again. With 4:53 left, they're down 17 points. And on 3rd and 5, the run was stuffed. They ran the ball. And on 4th and 4, Cole Sullivan sacked Lane, and it was a turnover on downs. And then with 3:46 left, Michigan on 3rd and 10, Justice Haynes had a 8-yard catch, but on 4th and 2, we kicked the field goal, and Zvada would score. I thought that was what we should do. They didn't. Underwood got sacked, and we had our own turnover on down. So it's still 34-17. That's how the game ended. Nichols had a sack on Lane on their last possession. The 4th and 2 was complete, but with 3 seconds left, New Mexico called a timeout, and we're fighting for more points. But Michigan got another sack and ended the game emphatically 34-17. But that's what we should have did. Just take the points earlier in the game on that possession before that last possession to end the game. But hey, beggars can't be choosers. Bryce Underwood was amazing. 251 yards, more than I thought he would get. His completion percentage is better than I thought it would be. And he had a touchdown. And he looked comfortable. And now we're going into Oklahoma. And there will be a preview for that video coming up. But let's revel in this moment where in Michigan it was sloppy. It was sloppy. For the most part, Bryce held everything together. And Wink Martindale's defense, although there were some boneheaded stuff. And, the refs made it closer than it should have been too. What do you guys think in the comments below? Let me know. But man, a win's a win, and go blue. Let's go.